introduced. So my name is Devin McCosh, probationary firefighter EMT with South Bay. I was a volunteer here prior to becoming career, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you guys for the opportunity. Thanks for the crew for accepting me. So a couple notes. So Chief was my primary source on kind of all this information. So it was really helpful being able to get in there and like learn more about the history of it. And then Bonzer and the cot, you're going to recognize all these pictures. So that was super helpful with putting this together. Can you see okay?
Yeah, I can see. Thank you.
Here? Okay, I'm also not super great at public presentations, so bear with me as I look through that. But okay, so this is just a very brief history of the South Bay Fire District 8. I was asked to put it together during the academy, so that's where it came from, working with Chief. He then asked me to present it to you guys. It's kind of a good overview with it being the 70th anniversary of our formation. So yeah, here we go. So we're going to be going over kind of an introduction, look at the origins of the department or the district, kind of current status. Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm totally good.
Yeah, sorry. Then we'll be looking forward, kind of do a summary and then address any questions that you had. So we're officially known as Thurston County Fire District 8.
There's a way to.
And let's get this guy.
There we go.
There. So we're officially known as Thurston County Fire District 8. Locally, anecdotally, we're known as South Bay Fire District 8, South Bay Fire Department, with different options. We serve 33 square miles and 13,000 citizens, the northeast portion of Thurston County. Our call volume is roughly 1,300 calls a year, and of those, 84% are EMS calls. We're founded as a volunteer department. We're currently a combination department. We merged with Thurston County Fire Protection District 7, North Olympia, back in 2015. So the origin of South Bay Fire District 8. So we started in 1953. We incorporated as a district at that point. We had it kind of broke it up into the timeline of different decades. So I tried to hit the big information. So our volunteer. So we started out as a volunteer department. Chief Zittles, was elected as the first fire chief. And so in 1953, we had a total of 15 calls. 1954 was kind of the year of firsts. That was the year we got our first purpose-made engine, and a few other. First fire chief was elected. And then purchased that. The new fire station was constructed with volunteer labor. It's kind of an example of the volunteers, the community coming together to build this fire district. So in 1955, our second chief was elected. In 1952, we built our second station. In 1966, we used the first radio dispatching. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first kind of radio equipment we ended up purchasing was actually used was funds from the U.S. Civil Defense Administration in 1957, which is kind of a cool connection. I think is kind of a cool connection to like the geopolitical situation going on back then, the Cold War and the space race and all that. So we were taking those funds and like volunteer fire or the fire service in general kind of shifted. I mean, we were fire focused back then, but over the course of our history, we kind of shifted into more emergency management, all hazard mitigation, but tying it into that Cold War stuff, I thought was fascinating. So there was that 61. So 65, we elected our third chief, our fourth chief. 1973 was elected. In 1974, Thurston County voters approved Medic 1, and then this had an impact on our services in the district, which we started providing EMS and EMS response and EMS training. 1980, we had our third station built, and then the first station was remodeled. 1981, our fifth chief was elected. 1985, our first full-time employee, and our sixth chief. We hired our first full-time employee, and then elected the sixth chief. In 19, let's see. I want to say, yes, Chief Van Camp's father was the first full-time employee and elected the sixth volunteer fire chief at that point. 1996, we elected the seventh chief, and then it was the same year Yeah, so and that's when Chief Van Camp became the first appointed 7th volunteer fire chief. We erected our new at the time, our current HQ on Shanky Road in 1997. Chief became our first full-time career chief in 1999. In the year 2000, we transitioned to the volunteer standby program. That was a shift from response from home to the the shift rotations, when we had volunteers actually coming to the station, staying at the stations, and responding from the station. In 2012, we joined IAFF Local 2903. 2014, the first career full-time firefighter was hired. There was 2 of them. It was currently Lieutenant Zverzis, and I believe it was former previous Lieutenant Pulowski were our first 2 career firefighters. And then we merged with District 7 in 2015. So South Bay is not without its tragedies. We lost our first on-duty passing was Assistant Chief Gregory Paul Thompson Jr. passed away after a battle with mental illness. But it's good to remember that even in our small departments, we're still affected by the trauma that we experience as firefighters every day. So the origins of North Olympia Fire District 7. So this is, well, we'll start with that. So they incorporated in it was the same day as District 8. And from what I understand, they got District 7 and we got District 8, the designations, because their chief was in line.
They took cuts in line.
They took cuts in line. We could have been District 7, thought that was an interesting little thing. So in 1953, the first and second fire chiefs were elected. The first engine, they leased their first engine also in that year. 53 or 55 was when they elected the third chief. 1957, they purchased their first radio and SCBA equipment. 57 was also when the first station, and I believe, is it this station?
It's building in behind us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So in 1957 is when that building was erected as the first station for District 7. 61, they had their fourth chief elected. In 1963, they bought the first new fire engine. In 1977, the Board of Fire Commissioners began appointing the chief. Prior to that, it was done on an elected basis of the community or the volunteer members. Let's see. Commission began the appointment. In 1979 was actually the first crab feed, and that began from 79 all the way to the pandemic 2019. Long-standing tradition. 1980 we had District 7 had the Rescue 741, which was moored at Boston Harbor. It was a joint program, I believe, between the Sheriff's Office and District 7, which was a response boat to help water rescue response, basically. 83, they had their fifth chief appointed. 1989, Lacey Fire District 3, South Bay Fire District 8, North Olympia Fire District 7 began discussing joint operational opportunities. So that seemed to be kind of one of the beginnings of the relationship between these 3 organizations. 91, they had the 6th chief elected or appointed, and then 96, the 7th chief. 1999, continuing with that connection with South Bay and Lacey, they created the Northeast Thurston Cooperative, and I believe it was from that we got the health and safety program, and that was still in operation today, which is kind of a cool thing. 2008, the 8th chief, and then the first full-time employee, and then the first full-time employee for District 7, and I believe this was he was Lieutenant Kobe Farnham he was at District 9. So it was kind of a cool connection to District 9. And then we had our District 7 had the 9th chief in 2005, 2008, first full-time chief. And then in 2011, they looked at joining IAFF Local 468, who was chosen to be the representation for that. But to my understanding, it didn't continue on for multiple reasons. And then ultimately with the merger, it became moved. So the current status of South Bay Fire District 8. So post-merger, so in November of 2014, the citizens of North Olympia approved the levy lid and merger with South Bay Fire District 8. The merger process was completed by January of 2015. and the creation of a 6-member board of commissioners. Then in 2015, voters approved a 5-member board of commissioners. Like after that, then we had 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, which is a huge catalyst for change, and continue to see that not just here, not just in the fire service, but nationally, internationally. And then in 2023, the 9 volunteer shift rotation went from the 9 shifts of volunteers to the 3 platoon career model that we have today. Post 2023, the district looks to the voters in the fall of 2023 for a levy restoration. Fall of 2024, we'll be looking again to the voters for the excess levy, and both of these are going to continue to support the departments and continue providing services to our 2 districts. They chief. Our citizens approved the requested measures, we'll continue to move forward with the adopted IR&R staffing plan. So in summary, this history of the South Bay Fire District 8 is the history of the fire service in northeast section of Thurston County. From our beginnings of a community of neighbor helping neighbor, we continue that tradition as we move into a new phase of our history.